Welcome to the Fishbowl Radio, everybody. My name is Chief here, and joining me today is Jalen. We're doing our 2024 Louisiana Raging Cajuns versus ULM Preview, or we like to refer to them as Monroe. Um, anyway, without further ado, let me introduce everybody to my co-host here, Jalen. How you doing today, Jalen?
Hey, I'm doing well, Chief. But do we really just have to say Monroe? Let me stop though. It's been good. Cajuns picked up a win. Hey, and Chief, you might as well get us started about what's going to happen if they win against ULM coming up.
Okay, and long story short here is before they even take the field, know if they won the West basically, or if they still got to win the game to be in the West because Texas State and South Alabama are going to be playing on Friday at 2:30 on ESPN Plus. So we will know if by then the Cajuns have locked it up, right? Locked up the West before they even take the field on Saturday at 11 a.m. in Monroe, Louisiana. So, the line for that game is 9.5 points for the Cajuns here. So it's going to be an interesting game, and it should be a very Monroe they're playing for bowl eligibility. They're going to try to give it everything they got here. But the Cajuns have bigger aspirations than bowl eligibility. They win, they get a 10-win season, and they get to possibly host the Sun Belt Conference championship game. And I know online we've been seeing a couple of teams. I mean, a couple of that very same situation here. So before we get into this here, it is very complicated. So I'm gonna try to my best in layman's terms, common sense, tell you exactly what all this stuff means here. All right. So basically here, let's get this thing kind of going here. Let me set this up real quick here so that y'all can see what I got going on here. Let's see. Maybe scroll this down here so y'all can see what is going on. I'm trying to. Oh yeah, this is okay. They like I said. Remember, I'm still kind of getting used to this stuff, so you'll have to forgive me. Yeah, share screen. I have to go hit this little three dot thing. It's a mess. Just like this whole Sunbelt thing is a mess. Here we go. All right. So look, this right here. This is your host tiebreaker. That's a lot of words. That is a lot
Whew.
of yeah. There's a okay. So it's still tied by the time the commissioner is going to be a coin toss at the end if all that doesn't happen. But so the first one is head-to-head results between tied teams. So looking at the Sun Belt standings here. Uh,
Yeah, let's take a look at them.
so I'm gonna share this tab instead here. So look, I'm sharing this tab so y'all can see what I have here. So in the tiebreaker, we have a tie in conference record, 6-1. Okay. If both teams win on Saturday, Marshall is playing, the Cajuns are playing on Saturday. Marshall is going to be playing James Madison, so that's not a guarantee there. James Madison, they want to get
It's a
at
big one.
least a 5-3, and probably potentially spoil Marshall's hosting opportunity. So that's not an easy game for Marshall. The Cajuns, ULM is going to try to spoil the Cajuns. They're going to give it everything they got. This ULM Super Bowl, Monroe Super Bowl. So they're trying to get the bowl eligibility, so they got a lot to play for Monroe. So it's going to be one of those two things here. So looking at it here, let's say they both win. If they both manage to get through there, we have the same conference record. So in the case of the tie, head-to-head results, they didn't play each other this year, so that wouldn't work. If still tied, if one team was ranked in the latest available college football playoff selection committee rankings and wins in the final weekend of the conference regular season, it will be declared the host. Now, I'm gonna take y'all back to 2021. So let's pull this up here. So if you go back to 2021, Cajuns were in the CFP. So this number two rule came into play right here. Um, they won their last week of their season. So, and they were ranked in the college football playoff committee selection. So in that case, they went off the ranking of the committee. I think they were ranked 16th or 15th. I ain't got that pulled up, but that's 2021. That's been 3 years ago. So they used that in that scenario to pull up that kind of ranking there. So the Cajuns would have lost and they would have stayed in the ranking. They would have still got it anyway. And the latest available ranking loses in the final week and a composite average is selected. So this will probably not be in play right here. I don't think that too there. So there are multiple ranked. So this probably won't. Latest available CFP selection committee ranking the highest ranked team that wins in the conference regular season. If the highest the composite average of Anderson, Hester, Massey, Colley, and Wolf, that includes all the games on the final week, will be used to determine the division champion. Which I thought this was
Wolf. All right. All right.
so. We're getting down to it. So look, I think we're down to number 4. I think this is going to be in play this weekend right here. Teams, hold on. Let me try to make sure I'm not so y'all can see it better. I'm trying to highlight all this. If none of the ranked teams win on the final weekend of the conference regular season, a composite average of selected computer rankings, and they give you the polls that they're going to use here. This is what the CFP committee looks at as well. And we actually have access to all these here. Selected computer rankings, Anderson and Hester, Massey, Colley, and Wolf, that include all the games on the final weekend of the conference regular season, will be used to determine the host. So if they both win, this gets pulled up here. Hold on. I'm going to show you the numbers here as they are right now. I wonder if they updated. Okay, they updated this yesterday on Sunday. So this is don't give out a lot of ads here. So let me get rid of some Mickey stuff here. So the Massey ratings here, using games through Sunday. So these ain't exact rankings of like eight. Don't use 8 like that. So this right we'll be looking at this is 3 that we'll be looking at here on this episode with the Cajuns potentially hosting here. So let's go find the Cajuns. They're somewhere down here. I think this is so. This is the one. This green, this highlighted green area, that column. That's what they're That's what they're rated right there. Okay, so LSU 17. No, they're not ranked. They're rated 17 in this particular poll. So Tulane's there at 31. Here, maybe I passed him up. There's Army. Army way down there at 50. So we'll see here. So there's the Cajuns right there at 62. So I'm gonna write this down right here. That the Cajuns are at 62. Is Massey. All right. Got that written down. We're gonna do this live on the Fishbowl. So how's it ranking? Marshall there at 70. So just have the thumbs up to hosting in this poll. Let's go to this Anderson one. I'm gonna switch it over and share this. I have jump, so y'all stay with me. This is the Anderson and Hester poll. Now this different here. There's your top 10 rank right there with Oregon and Boise State. Through Boise State. And they got the conference rankings right there if you want to see who's got the best conference. And according to this poll and the schedule strength, it's all data numbers, plug and point, that kind of thing. So let's see. Trying to find the Cajuns here. This is very small print. I hope y'all can read this with me here. Okay, Cajuns, I found them. They're at number 40 in this one. All right, let's find Marshall. Marshall is 49. So they're 9 spots behind the Cajuns here. So right now, looking really good for the Cajuns. I would basically say, unless the Colley one has abnormally way higher than Marshall in that poll, the Cajuns will be hosting a Sun Belt championship game in 2024 at Cajun Field. So the Collies bias free one. Let's share this tab here so y'all can see what I'm talking about here. Already was kind of looking at this one a little bit earlier here, but you see they don't have it as Louisiana. That was LA Lafayette right there. But we'll have to shoot them out and use Louisiana. But anyway, 31. So they're 31. Let me write that down. And Marshall is 38. So Marshall isn't that far behind the Cajuns in these polls here. So a composite ranking, if you were to average all these out, let me pull up my calculator here because that's what this is. They want a composite ranking, which they want all three of these put together. So if you're just joining us here, we're adding up all the games here real quick here, or ratings here going on here. Let me pull up my calculator here. So Anderson and Hester Cajuns are 40 plus 62. Gonna do the mean average. If y'all know anything about mean, the average number of this, and 31.
Oh, you taking it back to school? Mean, median, mode, and range.
Yeah, taking y'all back to, yeah. I'm not a math whiz, so this might be off, but divide that by 3 because there are 3 different polls. The average composite ranking for the Cajuns is 44.3. And it's a repeating number, but no, 44.3 for Louisiana. Just to kind of give y'all like what they're going to do here. So let's do Marshall now. Marshall is in the Anderson poll, 70 in Massey. And the Collie poll, they have them at 38. And their composite rank, their number's higher, so it should be higher. It's 52.3. So the Cajuns are going to be hosting. If both
and
these teams.
And for those that they're probably just joining, now what scenario is that again?
That scenario is if both the Cajuns and Marshall win on Saturday.
Okay.
This is if they just both lock up the spots here. But if you want to throw in, I think Georgia Southern. Yeah, Georgia Southern isn't out of this yet either. Got to play on Saturday too. If Marshall were to stumble, or if Marshall were to stumble, they would have a shot. It wouldn't be a crazy thing if they would have a shot because Georgia Southern is playing App State. Rivalry game. App State could completely like go unhinged and beat Georgia Southern and end all debate of what's going to happen there, basically. Georgia Southern has to win. Marshall has to lose for them to win the East. That's basically what it comes down to here. Bringing us back on camera here. But yeah, that's basically the synopsis of what we're going to have to deal with here. Done there is going to be a crazy. If the Cajuns both lose, it gets a little bit more crazier even then because now you got South Alabama and they playing. Let's see who's South Alabama. They're
playing Texas State.
But like talking about here, the Cajuns going to know. We're going to know by the time we saw what's going to happen here. So if South Alabama wins, they need a Cajun loss for them to win the West. That's basically what's going to need to be happening here. So in regards to all that, this is really what we're like talking about here. This is the big moment of these games here. This whole debate here, the discussion that we're having here is something that is going to continue to evolve here over the course of this week here. So these polls are all updated and all the numbers are showing the Cajuns are going to be hosting on December 7th when the Sun Belt Championship game is being played here. What do you think about that, Jalen?
I think that's awesome. Haven't hosted or been in the championship game since 2021, and guess what happened that year? They won it. So, and it would be a great way to end the very last time at Cajun Field.
Yeah, it would be Our Lady of Lourdes Stadium next year.
Yep. So that would be a great way to end it. Not only getting the host, but win a Sun Belt championship. I think that's perfect.
Yeah, that would be the way to go for sure. But I'm thinking it's gonna be a crazy experience seeing that here, like a stadium being rebuilt. So I don't know if we have enough seating to beat the 2021 Sunbelt Championship attendance record, because that will be the most attended game of the season if that were to happen. We've
Oh,
seen it
absolutely.
happen. We've seen it happen, and people beat a dead horse when it comes to attendance because the Cajuns ain't going to average more in the month of November more than like 17, 18,000. Even if they would bring someone in state, I just don't think there was enough like um, people like paying attention and really care about the Cajun program to actually go do that kind of thing there. Well, Fishbowl will be out there. We always have someone out there at the game. How was it at the game, Jalen? We saw you Saturday.
Yeah, it was great. The Cajuns kind of had me worried in the second half when Troy scored two touchdowns and got back to back 2 point conversions. I'm like, okay, all right, Cajuns, what we're doing. But then Robert Williams ran that kickoff back for a touchdown. I said, all right, we got the momentum back, and they ultimately ended any momentum Troy had. So I was excited to see that. It was a great game though, overall.
The whole mood of the stadium shifted after that kick return. That was really what kick started it. And also in the first half when Troy was on the field mocking the uh the home with the UL fans behind him and stuff, kind of mocking them
Yeah,
where the
that
old student
was.
section used to be at.
And I tell you this, Coach Des, Chandler Field, all of them said in the presser, it was like, yeah, we saw that, and that was kind of momentum for us. That's what Coach Des and Chandler both said. So that was momentum for the Cajuns. That's why you saw them have a 20 point lead at the half. And I think also after Troy at the end of that first quarter with like 5 seconds left, they threw that touchdown pass and took the lead. I think the Cajuns said, you know what, we're not about to lose back-to-back games, especially at home. So they took full advantage, took the momentum back, and ultimately won the game.
The Cajuns are kind of in trouble at running back a little bit. Not in terms of like Bill Davis playing bad or anything, but injuries are starting to pop up there. With him being injured, Zion Perry being out last game. Will we see those guys back Saturday? You think, Jalen, from what you saw in the presser?
So from what I saw in the presser, I know Coach Dez
Or
was saying
heard?
that he didn't really have a lot to say about Draylen's injury. He just said he needed to look at tests and everything. As far as Zylan, there wasn't really any comments on Zylan, but I will say this: Robert Williams had the utmost. Probably the utmost Zylan Perry fan because he said Zylan Perry was coaching him up through the whole game, telling him that he was going to break one. That's what Robert Williams said, and guess what? He did end up breaking one. So even if he's injured right now, not playing, he's still impacting the team. Both players are. So
And you gotta have that though. Like that's your brothers out there. You gotta be able to have each other's back and go to war with them. That's basically what goes. That's what happens on a football team. So, uh, let's take a look here at ULM as we get going here pretty soon here. So,
it's. I think
uh,
it's the. I
what
think
is
it's really
something you can
funny.
tell us about ULM, Jaden?
Oh, I'm glad you said that because I was just about to say I think it's funny because you got to go against this ULM team, and I think you already kind of mentioned it, Chief, that their backs are kind of against the wall. They are trying to not only stop this 5 game losing streak, but they're trying to become bowl eligible, and they're playing at home. So in the last game of the regular season, so I think, and then that has to be their senior night too. So I mean, oof, the cards are on the tables for ULM to play spoiler. The Cajuns have everything on the line when it comes to outright clinching the West. This is probably one of the biggest games in the Sun Belt. And I think ULM, yeah, they might be on a 5 game losing streak, but every time they play the Cajuns, they play them hard. They beat us a lot of times in the past, and it's at Monroe, so that's kind of a little scary. But I think it's still gonna be a great game.
So this is ULM. they're 100 and 80 defense. ULM is good against the defense ranking. It's going to be very hard for the Cajuns, which is time for it. And they're 53rd. They're in the country running the football. So against ULM, you will probably win the football game, basically, here. They're not very good at passing the ball. They're 130th in the country. So, and the Cajuns, like we've talked about, their weak point of their defense is running. So, that's a concern for me, at least. But likewise, they're not good against the run either. Their defense, they're 117. So I think the Cajuns will run the ball against them. I think they'll have a lot of success up front here. So like Elijah Bill Davis, control clock and stuff here. Maybe get some pass. You're gonna have to throw the ball a little bit to back them up. But I think I trust Dez, and they have exceeded expectations this year. So that's gonna be something to kind of see as we go through this season here, because it's gonna get. As we go, let's see. Let's go pull up the Cajuns rankings. I want to see if they updated them anything here. Yeah, Cajuns are 18 off. Rushing defense just went down to 72nd. This, which is good statistical rankings here. The passings went up to 25th because at one point they're even like 40. Like we've been talking about Jalen.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're 49th in rushing, 25th in passing. The Cajuns are 18th overall. Passing, the Cajuns went down a little bit of passing over the last couple of weeks. They're 31st, but they've had injuries in the secondary, so that you're not playing your A-list guys out there. You got their backups in there a little bit, but they still are holding their own. So 31st against the pass, rushing at 72nd. Like I said, weak point of this Cajun defense is their run defense. That is something that we're going to look at here as we go, because ULM does like to run the football very well. That is their preferred way. It's going to be one of those things here. So they played Arkansas State. We saw how that went. So it's just going to be one of those that we're going to have to look at here, just to see here. But like, if you're just tuning in, watching as we went through a whole rankings list of how this stuff goes here. I don't feel like doing the whole thing all over again, but these are the sites they're going to use here. The Anderson and Massey and Colley, bias-free college football rankings. That's the ones they use. They have all kind of little polls out there in college football. If you're not familiar with it, that will tell you this kind of stuff here. So these sites here, their composite ranking, like I said, is, let's see. So in that scenario with the Sun Belt, let me go pull it up here so I can share that screen again, because I think it is an interesting point that we have to bring up here. I'm going to put one of these here. Let's see the tiebreaker. Yeah, let's see the tiebreaker one. So bringing that up here. This is what I'm talking about here. Let's see. We're probably not going to get any ranked at the end of it here. If they do, I think the college football playoff committee might just be ranking one person, or not one person, one team, excuse me, to just have it there, just to help the Sun Belt commissioner out. That would be like a little hey, let's rank that team in the last week so they don't have to go through all this hoops and stuff to see here. And it would obviously be Louisiana. They're receiving votes in the AP poll right now, so that would obviously be the easiest decision they could make there. So, like I said, with Anderson and Hester, Louisiana's ranked 40th. Marshall's ranked 49th. In Massey, Louisiana's ranked 62nd. Marshall's ranked 70th. Colley, Louisiana's ranked 31st. Marshall's ranked 38th. So if you add those numbers up and divide them by 3, you get Louisiana at 44.3, and you get Marshall at 52.3, which would give Louisiana the home field, basically. And that scenario is if both teams win. Now, which that's what we'll see if we think that's going to happen or not when we do our picks for Sunbelt later on. But anyway, that is we're going to do our game picks here for this week in college football. Should be a fun one. Let's see here if I can get this thing to stop. There it is. I wasn't able to grab the button, so let's see. Boom. So Sunbelt Week 13 game picks here. So first game, the one that's going to decide if the ULM game has any significance on who wins the West. Texas State versus South Alabama Jaguars here. So Texas State is favored by 1 point in this game here. Jalen, does the ULM game matter at all? Who you got in that game?
I'm going to say that the ULM game is going to matter because I think Texas State is going to lose this one to South Alabama. I think South Alabama is going to pick up the win. The ULM game is going to matter, and South Alabama is going to be right there watching the game to see if they'll be able to win the West.
I disagree with you. I think Texas State is going to beat South Alabama because I'm gonna tell you why. They're already gonna be tense. Okay, they're already gonna be tense when they get out there on the football field, and if they ain't careful, that game might be over by halftime if they don't play their cards right. Because if they get a chance to jump on you, they probably will. Texas State's got a very good offense here. They know how to get the job done out there. They're both 6-5. I'm thinking Texas State does pick up the win over South Alabama. I don't think it's going to even come down to it on Friday to even make a difference there. So that is something that we're going to look at here and just see. I don't think it's going to make a difference there. I think they're going to choke, honestly. I got a choke call on that one. Louisiana
Not a
versus
trick call.
ULM. Who you got in that game, Jalen?
Yeah, I got the Cajuns picking up this one. I know ULM they started really hot at the beginning of the year. Now they're on a 5-game losing streak. They're trying to finish out the season with another win, but I think the Cajuns are going to take this one.
How many points you thinking?
I think I'm gonna do this. I have so much faith in this case. I'm gonna say Cajuns by 14.
Okay, so I know the weather up there. We were looking at it. It's gonna be like 50 degrees. It's probably gonna be a little bit I don't think it's gonna be raining too much in Monroe. Which I remember we went up there. The Fishbowl Nation was out there. Fishbowl Radio was there in 2016, and a monsoon hit Malone Stadium out there. Me and Mike Honcho and Juicy, we froze our butts off at that game because we were soaking wet. We had some rain jackets. We drove all the way back. My feet were soaked. It was a miserable experience, but it won't beat that time that we went out there Independence Bowl out there in some like 4-degree weather. That's what the feel like was, where you blink, it hurt to blink. Um, but yeah, so it's going to be partly cloudy, 5% chance of rain, 55 degrees, 35 degrees is going to be the low that day. You know, it's going to be a kind of a somewhat chilly day, basically. So it's not going to be raining too much. So it should be kind of a pleasant game, technically. But I think the Cajuns will win this one, but I think they're going to win it by 10. Give me Louisiana beating Monroe by 10 points because I'm kind of agreeing with Vegas on that one. So 10 points. Louisiana beats ULM in that one, I predict here. Coastal Carolina versus Georgia State here. Georgia State's favored by 1 point. I got Coastal winning that game, Jalen. Who you got in that game?
So you got the two bottom teams right there in the East. I'm gonna go with Coastal in this one. I'm going Coastal.
Coastal fighting for bowl eligibility, so they definitely got something to play for. Southern Miss 1-10, taking on Troy 3-8. So look, I've seen some rumblings on Twitter that there might be a little bit of a distraction for Marshall. This is crazy because it appears that someone posted a flight pattern and it's going from Huntington, West Virginia to Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And you know what? They're speculating that it's going to be Marshall's head coach becoming a new head coach at Southern Miss.
Because I'm thinking, I'm like, why Hattiesburg? That's where Southern Miss plays. Okay.
That's the crazy thing. It's just been a social media post at this point. I'm not in the know with that. I'm gonna see what happens there. But I don't know if that's a drop down or an upgrade. If they think Southern Miss is the way to go. Hey, Troy's favored by 17 and a half. Give me Troy though. I think they'll win this game. Who you got, Jalen?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Troy in this one. Southern Miss once again. Uh, they're not playing well at all. 0-7 already in conference play. I'm gonna go with Troy in this one.
Old Dominion taking on Arkansas State. Arkansas State 7-4. Old Dominion is 4-7. Old Dominion is favored by 4 points here. Arkansas State, I think they can't win the West even if the Cajuns lose. Um, they're kind of in a spot there, interesting spot because head to head, it. So looking at the standings there, I know Arkansas State is 5-2. Cajun, if they would fall to 6-2, it just depends here. There's like a three-way tie. I don't. Let me look at this. Actually, before I even say that, let me go look at this like pattern here real quick. Ineligible division champion. Multiple teams tied for division champion. Team with the highest winning percentage in all games in games played among the teams tied shall be declared division champion. So that would be if the three ended up tie and like Arkansas State beat South Alabama, which if you go look at Arkansas State
Yeah, which
scores and
Arkansas State
stuff,
they did beat South Alabama. That's
yeah,
a
they did beat South Alabama. So that it's gonna be in that little tiebreaker thing. I think overall divisional winning percentage shall be named the division champion, which would go to the Cajuns. So I think they're kind of done with basically Arkansas State. So I got Arkansas State beating Old Dominion. Who you got, Jalen?
yeah. I'm agree with you, Chief. I got Arkansas State beating Old Dominion also.
App State taking on Georgia Southern. Big rivalry game between these two here. Hate each other. App State would love to beat Georgia Southern and really cost them a shot at possibly winning the East if it comes down to it there. Marshall, they're 8-3. They're going to take on James Madison, so that's gonna be an interesting one there. Um, if App State were to lose, James Madison win, but James Madison wouldn't be able to get in because of their conference record. So it's interesting that they have that of a record, but all three of their losses have came in conference. So um, they're just one. They're thinking about one game here. Georgia Southern needs to win to stay to get ahead of there because if Georgia Southern, because that loss to Detroit really hurt them. Because if you look at Marshall and Georgia Southern beat Marshall. They went toe to toe and beat Marshall. So they got a lot to play for. I got Georgia Southern winning this game. What do you think, Jalen?
I do have Georgia Southern winning this game, but it would be so chaotic if Georgia Southern were to lose. But hey,
Because App State, they're playing for bowl eligibility, so they're not going to make it easy on them. Marshall and James Madison. Marshall has to win this one to stay ahead here, and I think they will get the job done against James Madison. Who you think, Jalen, wins that one?
yeah, I think Marshall is gonna win against James Madison, and
Could you imagine a chaotic scenario where all the teams that are supposed to win lose?
it's
Like Cajuns would lose, South Alabama would lose, Marshall would lose, and Georgia Southern would lose.
you know what, I wouldn't even know what to say anymore. I'd be like, you know what, everybody, all the Sun Belt, the great teams of the Sun Belt just had an off day. You know what, we're going to reset, and whoever's on top right now, that's who's going to be representing the East and the West and playing each other when it comes to December 7th.
So let's talk some Cajun. Yeah, let's talk some Cajun basketball. Don't want to make the room a little bit negative here, but it's not good. So I got a chance here to kind of tune into the game and check this out here. Cajuns did very well in the second half. They led the majority of the second half, and then I don't think it's a talent issue with the Cajuns. From what I can see from these couple of games, they're 1-6 right now. So you're probably wondering, well, Chief, if it isn't a talent problem, then what it is? I don't think they understand the scheme because if you look at one point, I don't know who the player was because I couldn't really see it because the way the camera guy had it was like this tan like and it was kind of like he wasn't really all focused very well. They didn't have great cameras out there, basically. But anyway, he's backing up to go like down to the closer to the goal in the box, and your center is pushing this guy to go forward. Like you need to go cover him out there on the wing, and they're passing the ball to him. He has a wide open 3-point shot right there. So it seems like there was confusion at times with the Cajun defense, and this is why they're getting these 20-point wins because the Cajuns defense seems to be the problem with this basketball team here. They look confused at times. They're not like spreading the ball around, and they get lost in the shuffle where guys are supposed to man up with their guy, or like if they're dropping back into a zone, or they're doing press man to man coverage, or trying to form a trap or something. They just lose either containment or they lose like assignment. It's assignment issues based, which is a very small thing to fix. But when it's a problem you have to learn in practice, take it from practice and bring it to the game. If you don't have that here, you got to understand what it is in practice and how it works in practice and make it translate to the game. That's where the disconnect's at. This is practice over here, and my right hand doesn't know what my left hand's doing. That's the problem with the Cajuns right now. There's a disconnect between practice and the game. What you think, Jalen?
Yeah, there definitely is a disconnect, Chief. 'Cause like we said, they have the talent. They brought in not only transfers but veterans. They brought in juniors. They brought in seniors. They have a few freshmen on the team who were top rated players, and they have players who've been on this team. Kentra Garnett is still with the program, so I think they have the pieces. They have the talent. They just need to figure out how to put it all together on the court because right now they're not playing well. I know we talked about it before how it's not time to panic, and I still don't think it's time to panic, honestly. But right now they're not playing well. They lost what 5 straight. I think they just need to honestly they need to come up and get this win against Nichols at home on Saturday and try to build some momentum.
I
Beating an in-state foe will get things should get things started.
Yeah, so they're gonna be playing like if they lose to like George Washington, they should have lost the game. UAB, they should have actually beat UAB today. Nichols is a good reset game for them, I think. And then you got Louisiana Tech coming up to December 7th here, which will be is gonna be chaotic for like Sunbelt Championship game. Then you gotta because they're gonna be kicking off around the same time, tipping off and kickoffs like 7 o'clock.
Yep.
As crazy as that is, I know they probably like, oh man, this might be a like it's gonna be chaotic, basically. But Nichols, the Cajuns are gonna have to. I think what they need to do is just start fresh. Let's do a fundamental, easy to understand scheme, okay? So your players can understand what's going on because there's a clear, obvious miscommunication amongst the players out there on the court. You can see it, and if I can see it with them being in the Virgin Islands and me seeing at home, seeing there's confusion and not being where you need to be, then obviously there's something else going on there that needs to be addressed and it needs to be implemented in practice and stuff and repeat this over and over and over again until you get it and understand what's actually going on out there. Now there's time the Cajuns scored enough points to win. 86 points is enough to win a basketball game. Like they scored 74 and they gave up 83. So it's a defensive issue. It's defense assignments. So they have to learn 89 they gave against Liberty, 83 against Rice. Because all I see on the Raging Cajun basketball fan page for uh like the fan page that people just want to talk about Marlon. They want Marlon this, Marlon that, which it is technically Marlon's fault, technically. He's got to make his players understand that this is the scheme we're running. This is what you do in this situation. I don't want you guarding the post guy. I want you getting out there on the wing to go cover that guy. That is something that's what his job is supposed to be. I'm not attacking Marlon. That is his responsibility as a head coach, though. That's just all it is. That it's a scheme issue and them not understanding mentally what is going on out there, and that has to be corrected in practice until they finally get it. If they don't get it, you got to change your scheme here. That's why they lost 6 games. Defensive assignment problems and stuff here. Like UT Dallas, they could have beat them like have 82-40 something win, but they ended up winning 82-65. The Kent State, the 66-70, wasn't a bad loss for the Cajuns technically because they only lost by 4. So we'll see. What you think, Jalen?
Yeah, I think there is some kind of miscommunication somewhere. Like you said, probably the defensive side of the ball because they're putting up points, but the teams they're losing to are putting up points too. UAB put up 98, George Washington 83, Liberty 89. So it's like these teams are just putting up points. And I'm gonna say, and of course, I don't want to really include the Houston law because Houston is one of the top teams in the country. I mean, you have teams in Houston's conference can't beat Houston. So I'm not gonna put that one on the Cajuns. But some of these other games, especially in this Paradise Jam that they was at, it's like okay, you want to see them at least pick up a win, but they got to get some momentum, the momentum going. I don't know if it needs to be a lineup change, but at the end of the day, we're not trying to criticize Bob Marlin, but for the average fan, whenever a team is losing, the first person that gets blamed is the head coach. That's unfortunate, but that's how it is. So he's gonna figure out a way.
Yeah, like I said, it's November. It's way too early to hit any panic button at all. We're not even in December yet, and it's kind of funny when you like talk to Raging Cajun fans here, because Bob Marlin is the most polarizing figure in UL athletics. Like, uh, you know, whether it be like if you talk about any other coaches saying what you talk about Marlon, they'd be like, "How dare you?" It's kind of like a little bit of hypocrisy, a little bit there too, because like I've made a video about this a year ago. Okay, the people that want Bob Marlin gone, they're gonna want him gone, no matter if he could make it to the Elite Eight. I still think these people would be out there trying to get rid of him. Um, it's kind of a lose lose situation at some point there, but like we talked about the pros and the cons. Jalen, I think you were on the episode with me, wasn't you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we had a whole list, information. I broke it down for them, basically how simple it was. If you think it like how it was, it's kind of dated now because it's been a year ago. But if he doesn't win a Sun Belt Conference title in 4 years, then the head coach should obviously go about the Raging Cajun basketball program. So I think what I just think they just just don't like the guy basically. Whether they want someone that's like a Will Wade that's more fired up and going to like, get in the face of people and stuff, or like conflict and stuff like that, or you want like Bob Marlin's a man of very few words. He doesn't really talk too much. Seems more reserved than the rest of them. So, but hey, that's just the way it is, and that's what we got to look at here. So, look, I know Rage Cajun women's basketball plays tomorrow. That's something to keep a look, an eye out on, a look at basically. So, Jalen, what you think about? I think the Cajuns are gonna win though. I think they'll beat Nichols. I think they'll reset here. I think they just need to dumb down the scheme a little bit, I guess. Then you can add on from there once they get it. But anyway, any closing thoughts, Jalen?
Um, I just want to say I know that Cajun football they're going to clinch the West and they're going to get the home game and potentially win a Sun Belt championship again. But first, we gotta take it a week at a time. So I'm gonna say they're gonna beat ULM, clinch the West, and secure their spot in the Sun Belt championship. The men's basketball team, they're gonna get it together. It's still early in the season. They're not even in conference play yet. They're gonna get it going. Shout out to the women's team. They won 2 straight. It was unfortunate to see their game against Mobile get canceled, but hey, they're still two wins in a row, and they'll take on New Orleans coming up Tuesday night and try to add another win in the win column. So
Yeah. So I think they will beat UNO. I think that's my prediction.
yeah,
But
UNO hasn't even won a game, so the
yeah,
Cajuns should have their way.
they should. I mean, we're gonna keep tracking this stuff and kind of see what's gonna happen there as this stuff starts going here. I think the Cajuns do lock up the West. I think they do a very good job there. Uh, I think they'll get the job done there and just keep on trucking. That's kind of thing that we're looking at here. And that's something that's gonna be really interesting to see here. I think they lock up the West. I think the basketball team kind of they might take them a little bit longer to gel together, but once they I think they need to just dumb down the scheme, kind of get things going here, and just play basketball. Basically, that's all you gotta do. So, just basic fundamentals, and let's get it going. Thank you for tuning in here to the Fishbowl Radio. Hope you have a great, wonderful time, and we'll see y'all next time here on the